Hi everyone, and welcome to my Soul Doll Vito body review. As always with these kinds of videos, you might expect to see some doll nudity, so just want to warn you about that right off the bat. Today we'll be looking at my Soul Doll Vito body. This is the Sculpt Azrael. I bought this doll in, I believe it was February 2016, and it arrived to me in August 2016, and so I've had it for a while now and recently restrung the body, so I'd like to share with you my thoughts on it and what I think about it. Now, Soul Doll offers girl and boy bodies in the Vito line, and the boy body comes in two different versions. There is the visible double-jointed body and the hidden double-jointed body. My one is the visible double-jointed body. Just for orientation, the body is approximately 52 centimeters tall, including the head. And while we're there, let's talk about the neck joint. Now, it's a pretty standard neck joint. I mean, there's nothing fancy about it. It can move around pretty well. What really impresses me about this joint is the fact that it can look up very, very well. That is quite impressive. Like all neck joints, it snaps, as you can see me demonstrating now in this clip. It snaps back quite a bit, so you need to be a bit patient with it. I also have to remark, though his ability to look up is pretty darn good, I don't think he can look down just as well, so that's something to keep in mind. But overall, I'm actually really impressed with his body. Here you have a nice 360-degree view of the body, and here's a close-up of his butt. Now we're actually just looking at the back of the doll. Here you can see his knee joints double-jointed, as I already mentioned, and as we move up further along the body, you will notice that he does not have a hip joint, but a singular chest joint. So as far as jointing goes, it's pretty standard. Folding out his arms, you will be able to notice that he has double-jointed elbows and only one single joint in his wrist, so no extra joint there. But as I will now demonstrate in this clip, his range of motion in his arms is pretty good. I mean, he can do different movements with ease. He's got an array of different movements he can do. He's very expressive with his arms. Also, the double-jointed elbows, they pop out nicely and easily. You can handle them with one hand usually. I'll admit they're not the prettiest thing ever, but honestly they work, and he's really expressive with his arms, as I've mentioned. His wrist joints are also really expressive and very movable. I don't see the necessity personally for an extra joint there. I think it just works well as is. I also really just enjoy posing him with his arms and handling the arms. Here you can see me just testing the range of motion just to see when the arm will snap back to the body. Like I've said, this doll is freshly strung, so it holds itself up pretty well. Also the arms, we took care to make double joints there, double knots there, so he'd be able to hold his poses really well. And yeah, there's nothing really much to say. I just love to work his arms in a way that he expresses himself, and I love just reaching his arms up to have his hand touch his face. I think that's just really great if a doll can do that at all, so I really enjoy that. The chest joint is probably the most flexible joint on this doll in terms of range of motion, and it's really impressive the way he can arch his back, but even more impressive than that is his ability to slouch, to bend his back forwards. And this actually is a really helpful mechanism, especially when the doll has been sitting around for a while and has got a bit loose. You end up actually really needing this joint to get him to sit properly. But for slouchy characters he's perfect, and especially when he's freshly strung or well strung or even hot glue sueded, he can be put in a slouchy pose and still be able to maintain this while standing. So that's something that most of you will probably like, because I know you all like your slouchy characters, don't you? Let's take another look at his butt, shall we? Or rather at these two little lips underneath his butt. They are really important because they help the doll stand. Without them, the legs would probably swivel even more than they already do, since they're not really secured there in any way. But that's not a big deal. I mean, you could hot glue suede it, or even run some wiring through the doll. That would actually help a lot too. His knees I'm pretty happy with. They work. You can work them with one hand, as again, like the elbows, they're double jointed. They're not pretty or astonishingly beautiful. His feet are, on the other hand, really nice. He can point his toes, which is always a plus point. And his feet are large, though. I will warn you, finding shoes that fit him is a bit of a nightmare, because most MSD-sized shoes will not fit him, and some SD-sized shoes are actually too slim because he's got very wide feet. He's got Hobbit's feet, basically. Here you can see his little butt lips in action as they help hold up the doll as it stands, and now we're moving along with his sitting capabilities. Personally, I love it when a doll is easy to handle and can just be plopped down anywhere and just sit, and that is definitely the case with this doll. If he's leaning against a surface, he's just really easy. You plop him down and he sits, and you can adjust his knees. He will be pretty cooperative with anything pretty much you do with him. When it comes to sitting freely without leaning against anything, if the doll is well strung or freshly strung or wired or any of those things, he will have no problems with this either. Only it becomes problematic when the doll is looser or has been sitting around for a while. You kind of need to slouch him to get him to sit properly, but that's just a minor thing in my opinion. I think he still works really well as is. You know, I could go into a rage about how doll head caps need stronger magnets, but I just won't go there right now. I'll just keep calm and carry on. Now I guess it is time to sum it up with the things I like most about this body, and that is first and foremost his ability to slouch. I think this is really great. He can do it so well, and it works very well together with his neck movability. The fact that he can look up really far makes him be able to slouch down really far, which is great. I love the way that he can use his arms. I think they're really expressive. I think that altogether that his upper body is really expressive, and I love that. I think his lower body is pretty standard. I mean, it's not like outstanding, but he can do most things. As a final little clip, I wanted to show you my minifee Sion next to the Soul Doll Azrael. As you can see, he's not a large body, which is I think his biggest selling point. He's semi-realistic, and he's not very large. He's 52 centimeters tall. He works well with most MSDs. I think his price point is okay as well. And overall, I'm really happy with this doll, and I recommend anyone who wants to buy from Soul Doll to do it because they're a really reliable company. I love their dolls. I have two now, and I think they're both really great. And I could not be happier with the Vito body. It's exactly what I wanted. It's a small SD male doll, and as that, it works really well. I hope you all like this video. Please support BJD artists and don't forget to subscribe. And as always, have a happy dolly day, guys. Bye!